Let's move on to the other big conversation point that we have here, and we continue with a story coming in from Kerala. Now, this one is about a face-off between the Kerala government and the Kerala governor, Arif Mohammad Khan. Now, the Kerala governor declined the approval, the permission for a special assembly session. A special assembly session had been recommended by the Pinarayi Vijayan government. They wanted a one-day session, just a one-day session, simply to discuss the new farm laws and pass a resolution against these three contentious agricultural laws. So the Chief Minister requested, and as the government sent a recommendation for a one-day session, and they wanted to discuss these farm laws, but the governor first sought some clarification and details of what was intended, and then he denied permission for that. This has now triggered a big war of words, because the government is obviously saying that the governor should give this permission, since the recommendation is being made by a majority government. It's the government's right to call for an assembly session. They have recommended the same. The governor just has to agree to it. He doesn't have the discretionary power in this case to say no. But the governor on the other side says there are needs for checks and balances in place, and you need to justify why you need to hold this one-day session. And so this war of words continues. Remember, Kerala is again one of those states that will go into elections next year. And they were looking to have a conversation about the farm laws. They passed a resolution against the central government's laws. Let's say good evening to E. Krishnadas, spokesperson for the BJP from the Kerala unit, joining us right now. And Binoy Viswa, member of parliament for the Rajya Sabha of the CPI, also with us this evening. But let me go across to Mr. Krishnadas first. Mr. Krishnadas, whose prerogative is it? Is it right for the governor to say no when the government wants an assembly session?
It is the good evening. First of all, it is the prerogative of the government to call for a session of the assembly, but the governor has the right, the discretion to look into the necessity of calling an assembly session. See, first of all, these three bills which are affecting the farmers, that was passed sometime in September 27th of 2020. Now we are well past 3 months. Now the government has asked the governor to call for an emergent session for discussing these farm bills. Where is the emergency? What were you doing all these 3 months? Were you sleeping? And the best part is that the budget session is called for on January 8th. So they just have to wait for a week, other than calling for an emergency session and spending public money on this session. That is what they ought to have done. So the governor found that there was absolutely no emergency for calling such a session. And what I understand is that the rules for calling the session also is against the left government. See, what the rule says is that 119 section C says is that when cases are pending, such matters cannot be discussed in the assembly. Here, with regard to this agricultural bills passed by the central government, there are a couple of petitions pending before the Honorable Supreme Court of India. Then how can the assembly pass a resolution in this regard? And when the central government has passed a bill, where is the question of the assembly passing a resolution against those bills? It is the very idea of an assembly coming together and passing a resolution against a bill passed by the central government is not only anti-national, it is against all the constitutional norms. And moreover, section 119D also, the matter with regard to interstate commerce is governed by, it is coming under the, the article is coming under the central government.
Okay.
It is coming under the list of the central government, and the central government can take its decision.
No, but obviously the Kerala Assembly wouldn't have been the first one, Mr. Krishnadas, to pass a resolution against these set of laws. But I'll take your points and I'll take them across to Mr. Binoy Viswam. Mr. Viswam, good evening to you. Two things that are being raised right now. That what is the need of calling for an assembly session effectively to pass a resolution against these laws? Now, what is it that we are hoping to achieve by passing such a resolution?
No, the question is quite simple now. Whether a state government, which has the confidence of the assembly, has a right to have an assembly session, and whether the governor has the right to see that that recommendation is thrown to the dustbin or to the waste basket. This is the question. The government is sure, the governor is surely trying to violate the constitutional norm. He has no right to do like this. He is trying to act as an agent of the ruling party, which he is not supposed to do. The constitution is very clear. He is suspected to be an impartial and independent mediator. Impartial, independent mediator means he should be impartial, to be independent from the pressures of the ruling party center. And this was debated much earlier. Even in the Constituent Assembly, this matter was debated. The governorship, whether it should be like that, the one in the US, where the governors are elected. And our framers of the Constitution, they came to the conclusion that if the governors are elected, they will try to believe that they are equal to the state governments, and it may lead to clashes with the government. It's only a constitutional head of the state government, not a real head, as the president also is. The president also is a constitutional head. The president has no right to overtake or to submerge any recommendations of the central government. He is to act as per the recommendation of the central government.
Okay.
The same way, the governors of a state, any state, has only one task, that is to act as long as a government which has a majority recommends it to do a certain action, he has to do it. What is happening now? The governors, many of them, out of their over enthusiasm, are trying to please the government rules the center. And many of them are trying to make the Raj Bhavans as the camp office of the BJP. And they are trying to behave as the stooges of the BJP, the party, which they cannot. And they are trying to question the authority of the government constitution and many of the verdicts of the Supreme Court itself. Supreme Court has many times made it clear that the governor is bound to act, or not, may act. No.
Yes.
He is bound to act, and that binding is there. And Arif Mohammad Khan, whom I very respect personally, is trying to oversee his authorities and powers.
Okay,
And
so there is a debate there definitely, and yes, there are multiple Supreme Court orders which say that the governor needs to and is bound to act on the recommendations that are being made. He doesn't have the sole power to call for an assembly session. He can only do so based on the recommendation of the cabinet, of the government. And again, when it comes to rejecting it, he can't. But he's done so now. The government obviously can go back with a second round of recommendation or go to the courts if they want to drag it out. But I am trying to understand, why are we fighting about this? What is it that the government achieves by passing this resolution? It doesn't make any difference to the laws. And what is it that the governor achieves if he's, giving into political pressures by blocking this? Mr. Viswam, to you first and then to Mr. Krishnadas.
No, the governor is trying to please the ruling party because the constitution is very clear on this. He has a duty to preserve, to protect and defend the constitution. Only the constitution, not a government at the center, not at all the party which rules the central government. No. But many governors, including Mr. Arif Mohammad Khan, is because of the pressure from the top political bosses is they're trying to act as the agents of the political party in power, which they are undermining the authority of the governorship. They violate the constitution, and they have least regard for the verdicts of the Supreme Court even. And that is now trying to make the office of the governor a very, very meaningless tool. So I think the time has come. The country has to think very seriously.
Okay.
About let me one sentence. The country should now think whether governorship has to continue or not. There is no need for the governors to continue like this. It's a mere waste. The Raj Bhavans to act as a office of the BJP. Why should we spend so much money? My close friend Krishnadas was very much worried about the assembly have a meeting spending the money. I'm asking him why the governor and Raj Bhavan should spend such a huge amount of money in every state to play as the playboy of the ruling party. No need of it at all.
Okay, let me ask him to respond to you then. Yes, Mr. Krishnadas.
I think you have hit the bullseye with regard to the question asked as to what you are going to attain by passing such a resolution. My first answer would be that, see, the governors of today are no more rubber stamps while what we have seen while the Congress ruled this country. The governor has looked into the legality of this resolution. He has looked into the rules of the assembly. He cannot do an act which is illegal and which is against the constitution. My first question to Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan was, what is the urgency of calling for an emergent assembly session? This bill was passed in September 27th. Where is the emergency now? You have called for a budget session on January 8th, which is just about 10 days after today. And you say that this is an emergent situation. Where is the emergency? What is going to happen if you do not pass a resolution in these 10 days? Is the sky going to fall? So you are just trying to earn brownie points by calling this session unnecessarily. You just want to spend this public money on this unproductive session that you are going to call. Absolutely no purpose is going to be served. As if the central government is going to withdraw by seeing your resolution. I just pity on Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan for coming today on this channel and trying to try to save face.
So tell me this. Okay, tell me this. I agree with you that this resolution is simply optics and it's nothing more. It's just optics to tell people like, look, this is our stand on farm laws. But then what is the point in blocking it either? Why block it at all? Mr. Krishnadas.
So see, the governor has stated, see, you have called for a budget session on January 8th. You can pass that on January 8th. Why do you want to waste money by calling for an emergent session? Where is the emergency the governor has asked? What is the emergency? Let Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan tell. What is the emergency by passing a resolution tomorrow and by passing a resolution on January 8th?
Okay.
Is the sky going to fall?
Is there an emergency?
Yes. The sky will fall.
So what were you doing? What were you doing from September 27th?
Please. Let me. I was silent when you were speaking, my friend. The sky will fall when the Annadatas of the country are on the streets in cold and heat, when they are on the streets for a very genuine demand. And the government of India, which speak a lot about the Annadatas, keeping mum on their struggle, there is an urgent situation. And the government of Kerala and the Kerala Assembly feel that there is a situation now where it should discuss this matter and pass a resolution and to inform the government of the country, our government in the center. We are Indians also. We are Indians, part of India. So we want to inform the government of the country that the Kerala government, the Kerala Assembly, the people of Kerala have this feeling. So please take note of it. That is the urgency. Only the BJP can say, when the whole country support the farm community, educators, the people.
No, that is fine, Mr. Viswam. You can, support them. Every day you can come out and say it. You can say it collectively as a government. You can say it collectively as all of the MLAs of your party. You can, there are multiple ways. Speak to the farmers, write them a letter, write the letter to the government. An assembly session, if you waited this long by not calling one, even though the farm laws were passed 6 months ago, even though the farmers have been on protest for 6 months, they've been on protest in Delhi for over a month now, then maybe we could have waited. But the political war, of course, over this decision really continues, while the center and the core of all of this is really just what the farmers want and whether their demands are just. And what is it that we are doing to listen to their demands and come up with solutions that benefit the farmers of our country. Everything else around it is just surround sound and politics. And the focus needs to still be what the farmers are really demanding and their conversations with the government. Thank you so much to Pinarayi Vijayan and Mr. Krishnadas for joining us on this conversation.